Hello, my friends, and welcome to our weekly connection. I am so excited this week because we have a special guest speaker. You guys know words are hard. My friend Dani is here to chat with us today, and I'm just so stoked. So how this usually runs is like we have something we want to talk about, and then people can chime in, and it's more of like a weekly connection meets coaching meets brainstorming kind of vibe. So Dani's gonna like share some really awesome stuff with how to move past obstacles and following up and just like being awesome, because that's what she does. And then we'll let it flow from there because we're so structured and regimented and we have a timeline. No, that's not it. Dani, hi, welcome.
Hi. First of all, I love this group. This is awesome. So I'm Dani, or Blue Cottage Mommy, if you guys follow me on social media. So Ariel asked me if I would talk to you guys about staying goal-oriented, pushing past self-limits, and then also like follow-up things. So a little bit about me. I joined in 2016. So I joined February 9th of 2016, and my first day as a consultant was World Tour Orlando. So I was in my second trimester with my little Reese pie, for those of you who already follow me. So it was nauseous and had no idea what to expect. And then I go into World Tour Orlando, which is a big world tour, and everyone's like, and I remember thinking, what Kool-Aid did I just drink to get in here? So it was very overwhelming. And now, of course, I go to events and I'm the one screaming spirit. So it's all good. So I joined February 2016. I was director by April 2016, and I had earned my very first incentive that fall, which was Top 100 Africa, which was really awesome. And very quickly, I learned that if I stayed on top of things, that things like earning a top 100 in the company was possible for me. And if I didn't earn these things through Sensi, these things were not going to happen in my everyday life. I was not going to just take myself to Africa. I have no means to do that. First of all, financially, anything. So I knew that if I wanted to do things like travel the world or see more of my husband, who was working ridiculous hours at a restaurant, that this Sensi business was going to be my ticket to do so. So for me, I've always kind of approached my Sensi business. I'm a Florida girl, so I was born and raised in Orlando, and we recently moved to Mississippi. So we moved during the pandemic, so I've been here a couple of years, but I'm still a Florida girl at heart. And in Florida, if you guys have never been, there are a lot of springs, right? And springs stay 72 degrees all year round. And I just, like, when I tell you I despise cold water. I'm not one to take a cold shower. I will not. If you come to me and say, I'm doing these ice bath therapy things, I'm going to say, I love that for you, because that is not in any way something that I want to participate in. So my kids and my husband, my family would love to go to like the springs. And I think it's gorgeous. If you've ever seen pictures of springs, it's beautiful. The water's gorgeous, blue, crystal clear. It's just phenomenal to look at, but to go in is freaking cold. And when you're at a spring, you cannot do where you start stepping in and then you acclimate and then you just keep going. And no, it's one of those things you have to just jump. You have to get all wet at one time and razor blades through your body all at one time, and then just suck it up from there and not get out, because the moment you get out, you will never want to get back in after that. So if you are one of those persons that have ever been to spring, if not, that's basically a spring in a nutshell. Unless you like cold water and torture, that's fine too. But for me, I've approached my business a lot like a spring. I'm not going to take little steps to acclimate. I've got to just jump in all at once. And for me, that looks like making a game plan. So like, for example, we have an incentive that's about to come up. And if you've ever looked at an incentive, it's basically the same requirements every single year tied up in a different bow. The point structures may be a little different, like certain things may be worth more or less points, and then you need more or less points overall. But all the requirements are exactly the same. It's going to look like PRV. It's going to look like recruiting. It's going to look like helping those new recruits reach certain things. It's going to be looking like helping your team members that you already have reach certain levels. It's going to look like you promoting, and it's going to look like you getting paid at title. So all those things every freaking year, they're always the same. So when people are like, I can't wait to find out what the incentive is, it's literally the same thing every year. So don't worry about what it is. Those are the things that you're going to be focusing on, no matter what the point value is. So making a plan so that you can kind of get an idea of what you need to accomplish over the next 6 months. Now, I will say, while incentives are fantastic, and of course, everyone wants to go to places like Africa and Alaska and all the things, right? The goal behind an incentive is not the destination. It is so that in 6 months, your business looks drastically different from when you began on August 1st. And so if you've promoted, if your team has grown, if your PRV is looking much healthier, if your business overall is just looking much healthier or much larger, then you know you're on the right track. So the destinations are great, but how your business looks at the end is basically your report card. And hopefully you, and this is something, I'm an Enneagram 3, and if you don't know what that means, I like to earn things. That's kind of like my love language. I love that's just me. And so when I don't earn things, it's like an itch on my brain and I can't scratch it and it bothers me really bad. But how I have kind of compensated that in my head is I hope that one day I have a business that I don't need Scentsy to take me on these trips. I can do it myself, and I can do it for twice as long as Scentsy would have taken me. And of course, if Scentsy's going to offer me a free trip, I'm going to bust my rear to get to it. But I want a big, healthy business that I can do these things at any time, anywhere that I want. And I can take my kids with me. I can take my husband with me, all the things. So that is my goal now, not so much the trips, but to have a business that will take me where I want to go anytime. So anyway, like for this incentive, right, you're going to make a game plan. So you're going to, once we figure out what those total points are, you're going to break up, okay, well, how much PRV should I have each month? Am I going to shoot for having a promotion at some point? How many team members am I going to help promote this, that, and the other, right? And then you've got to look at this thing and realize it's like a birth plan. Nothing is going to happen the way that you want it to, okay? So at some point you might have to throw it out the window, but at least you can look at it and say, okay, this is about what I want it to look like each month, right? Some months you may, October, November, your PRV may be way up here versus this kind of like constant middle ground. And then some months may be a little bit below what you would goal, and some may be way over. And it may average out to where you had hoped to be. But know that little game plan thing is just what you're hoping happens, right? And that's what you're aiming to happen. So with that, and to stay accountable for myself, I am a procrastinator. If I can leave things till tomorrow, I absolutely will find a reason to do so, especially when it comes to like working out. I'm not like Ariel that just does that for fun. I have reasons why that I have to get on this bike every day. But for me, to hold myself accountable, I kind of look at what I'm hoping to accomplish this week or what I need to accomplish this week. And I used to tell myself, I would wake up and I would immediately flood myself with, there's all these things that I have to do today. And if I don't get it, the world will literally end and come crashing down around me. And that would make me not want to get out of bed every day. So how many times have you ever thought to yourself, oh my God, this house needs a total overhaul. It needs to clean. Everything's a mess. And I have laundry and I have the kitchen and I've got this and I got this and I got to take the kids to sports and I've got to do this. And instead of doing literally anything, all you do is sit back down and you get on TikTok, right? And so like you, instead of doing anything to knock something off your list, you just completely shut down and do freaking nothing. That has been me all the time. I will do that to myself all the time. So when I would bombard myself with all of this, oh my God, there's so much I have to do by the end of today, right when I wake up, I don't even want to get out of bed. Like, why would I want to do this? This is torture. So I try to give myself kind of grace periods. Okay, I know I need to get this, and this done this week. I'm going to start knocking out each one individually. And if I can get my follow-ups done by Wednesday, if I can get my thank yous done by Friday, if I can before the end of the weekend, if I can make sure I've sent out an email or I've done my my pre-order billing or whatever. So I give myself little grace periods. So instead of it has to be done by the end of the day, it's got to be done by Wednesday, or it's got to be done by this day. And then that way I can start chiseling away, and it's not like this overwhelming anxiety where I don't want to do anything. Then when I figure out what I need to do and when I need to do it by, I pick whatever I don't want to do the most, like the thing that I really, 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 really don't want to do. And I do it first, because if I can do it first and get that out of the way, literally everything will be downhill from there. So if there, and that's why I try to ride the Peloton in the morning, because if I leave it until the evening, I will find every excuse in the book not to get on my bike. My elbow hurts. Obviously I can't ride, there's sand in my eye there, I can't see the screen if there's sand in my eye. So if there's something like I really don't want to do, I try to just knock that out first so I can get it over with. And that is my version of plunging into the cold water of the springs, so that I just get it over with. And now I'm in the water and I'm fine. I'll be able to acclimate as long as I keep moving. So that's basically how I have pretty much kept myself afloat and excuse busted a lot of the procrastination or the things that I just don't want to do. There are things that I know I need to do in my business that maybe I don't necessarily enjoy. Like is follow-up fun? No, absolutely not. But what is even more dumb than follow-up is working your rear off on parties and fundraisers and events and referrals and all this stuff, and you're working your tail, because that's hard work, right? That's so freaking hard to gain all these new customers, and so you're filling your bucket, right? You got your bucket of customers and you're filling it with all the new customers and everything's going great, and you're not following up with any of them. And you just have holes, and they're all just leaking out, because why would they shop with you if they never hear from you again, right? Why would they spend their money with you if you're not going to send them a thank you, or if you're not going to, send them a scent circle or a catalog every season or whatever, if they're going to be spending a good chunk of money, because I mean, our stuff is worth the money, but it's good money that they spend with us, right? A normal warmer is $45-50, right? That's a lot of money to a lot of people. Why would they spend that with you if they can't even get a thank you out of you, or something in the mail, some kind of happy mail, and even if you're like, well, Dani, I can't afford a lot of happy mail, I'm talking like a card handwritten with a stamp, like just bare minimum, anything, literally anything, people will appreciate. And then you can move up. I started out with buying the pack of 8 from the dollar spot at Target of the little note cards. I would handwrite a little note card, I would put it in an envelope, I would hand address it, I would put a stamp, and in the mail. Now my little goodie mail costs me a lot of money, but it's what I do full time. I do all of my business online. So my postage is probably my biggest expense in my business, but I rationalize that, saying, okay, well, if I did house parties, I would be doing a hostess gift, I would be doing giveaways, I would do time away from my family, I would be doing gas tolls, parties, a minimum of 3 hours that you're there, plus prep, plus loading your car, plus packing up, and so it's a trade-out for me. Postage is a hefty amount of my business, but I'm not having to do all this. If I was an events consultant, I would be, I would have tents, tables, setups, event fees, probably insurance on all my things, because God forbid someone didn't weigh their tent down and it flew into mine and broke everything, right? So you got to pick your lane as to what you feel your money is well spent on. That said, you also need to figure out what your money is not being well spent on. And if there's things that you're spending time and money on, nix those, get rid of those. If there's things that just don't bring you joy, that you don't have to be doing, then don't do it. Follow-up is not one of them. You need to do follow-up. Now, with all that said, I know we had the tragedy of Amy being nixed from our businesses, and that's very sad for me. I've been gung-ho full on Amy since the beginning. Again, I run my business full online, so I like doing things from my phone, and I could sit on the potty and knock out a few Amy's, you know what I mean? Like, you could breastfeed and knock out some Amy's. So there's literally no excuse to open your to-dos and knock them out. So no one is more devastated by this than I am, I guarantee you. But that means that we have to find a system that's going to work until Scentsy can put something else in place, which hopefully that they will, knock on wood. But I was lucky enough to come into Scentsy back in 2016 when everyone was doing pen and paper. And so I already have this background. I'm just going to have to fall back on it, which this was a great system. It was. It's just not automated on my phone. And maybe I can figure out a way to do that. I've not sat down to figure that out yet. But in the meantime, I'm going to go back to my paper and pen system. So this is a tiny little notebook that I got from Walmart back in the day, and I never threw it out because I'm a hoarder apparently. I don't know. And it came with these tiny little tabs, or I think I bought these I don't know. It either came with it, I bought with it, who cares. And so I got really fancy and I labeled them. So what I would do is I made my own order forms because I didn't need all because our order forms from Scentsy come with like 5 million. I didn't need all that. So I made my own. And you can even print them out from the workstation. You can even print like a 1-page order form out. And so I just did 2 to a page. What I did was like I sliced them up so I had 1 page, and every PWS order I had, which was pretty much all my orders because I'm online, I would write out their name, their phone number, what they ordered, and I would hole punch it and put it in my little thing. And so I have a to be delivered. So if it's not been shipped yet, I had it under there, right? And so how I was trained to do this back in the day, actually by Megan Merlin. She was one of the first people that I attended her breakout at World Tour, my first day as a consultant. And so I think she did the 2-2-2 rule, the 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. So 2 days after someone gets their order, you're checking in. Hey, did you get everything? Does everything look great? Are you liking everything? Right. And then 2 weeks, checking back in. Hey, just wanted to make sure you're still enjoying everything. Is there anything that you need? Did you have any questions? Is your air purifier working great? Is your diffuser working great? Do you know how to do all the little doodads on everything, right? Okay, so 2 weeks, 2 days, 2 weeks, and then 2 months. Hey, it's been 2 months. How are you looking on your wax? How are you looking on your oils? How are you looking on your pods? Is there anything I can do? Hey, we have a flash sale. Hey, we have Wally. Hey, we have blah, 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 right? So 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. So I kind of did my own little version. So I did a 113. So because I'm online, I would do a week after they ordered, because usually it was arrived there in about a week when they ordered online. Obviously, if it's like been a flash sale, it's going to be a little bit longer. And then a month after. So I would reach out 1 week after they ordered, 1 month after they ordered, and then 3 months after they ordered. And by 3 months, they should be ready for more wax, more whatever, more laundry. And that's just how I did. And then I also did like, did I send a thank you? And then all the while I'm moving that order form from tab to tab to tab, so that I know, okay, I followed up with this person 1 month ago. Now I need to move it to my 3 months. And then I'm looking at my date going, okay, it's been 3 months and I need to do this. Now for me, I do all of my well, with Amy, I would just do it daily. So because I have my little to-dos that pop up each day, and I try to knock them out each day. So with this, I'll probably pick a day of the week where I'm doing them. For my physical thank yous that I do, like my happy mail, I do those once a month because I get lots of orders throughout. My PRV averages between like 35 and 4,500. My most has been 8,600. So it gets to be a lot, and I don't want to have to break it up through. I have a lot of stuff to do, so I don't want to have to break it up, and I want to stay consistent at it. So what's worked for me is to knock out all of my happy mail in 1 to 2 days, and I do it I start to prep. I kind of know what I want to include in my happy mail by the end of the month, and I start getting all of that ready. And then I am actually knocking them out either like the last day of the month or like the first couple of days of the month. And then that way they're out. And for example, like this coming happy mail, I'll be including like the new catalog, some testers of the new fragrances, warmer of the month brochure, which we don't have one this month, but typically I would, scent of the month sample. I'll make things on the Studio app. It used to be the Over app. I'll make any LTOs that I know that are coming up. I'll make my own little things, print them out on Avery at home, include that in there. And that's how I send everything out. I think that's about it. Do you guys have any specific questions?
Gosh, I love that so much. And going back to the beginning of what you were talking about was we are building our businesses intentionally, and the incentives that we're earning are a really awesome byproduct of the foundation of the businesses that we're building. We're actually in the middle, well, not in the middle, we are in the first third of a 90-day goal challenge, and it's not an all or nothing. But it's essentially, we have every day a checklist of things to do. I don't know if this is helpful, but it's what are your top 3 things to accomplish today? So like having that list of, hey, here's what I want to accomplish. And if these 3 things get done, I'm sitting pretty. And then the 5x7 checklist. It's normally what I talk about as my 5x5 checklist, but the 5x7 checklist is try to do this because we're in a 90-day challenge, try to do these 5 things 7 days a week. And it's just things to do that are taking your business forward. So it's making 1 post on Facebook or Instagram, making 1 offer, a big bold offer that's host, join, or buy, making your follow-ups happen. Because, you know, Dani hit it home. We need to fill our bucket and keep it full. We don't want those holes leaking out. People, that sounds like a super gross visual. I'm sorry I said leaking. Post on your Instagram stories or make a reel or a TikTok or go live in some way, and then connect with 5 to 10 new leads, because we are a social networking company. We are business owners who need to network to grow our business. That's part of the checklist. So we're in the process of, in our first, you know, we're like 17 days in. And so it's a goal. Try to do this every single day, because it's going to help stack the foundation, because we know that quarter 3 is super critical for a successful quarter 4 for our business.
Right.
So I love that you touched on that.
And as far as, I love that you guys have goals of kind of what that should look like each day, because some people need things that are specific and written down, like, okay, you need to do this. So that's going to be super helpful, but also know that, there's going to be seasons in your business, like where you are really grinding, like nose to the grindstone. You are working. I probably worked way harder in my earlier days when I was trying to climb the ladder, than I do. And not to say that I don't work hard now, but I've found the things that serve me. I've established foundations, and cut out the things that aren't serving you. If it doesn't make you money, if it doesn't make you happy, start trying to weed those things out. But know that there are going to be things that you don't like doing that are still necessities. So like, for example, working out. I don't like working out, but I know I need to do it for my mental health. I need to do it for my physical health, but that doesn't mean that I need to run on a treadmill if I would rather die, or lift weights or whatever. Like, find something that helps you accomplish that goal that doesn't make you want to kill yourself more than something else. You know what I mean? Like, you have to, like, this is not as bad as if I had to run a treadmill or something, or lift weights or whatever. So find something that makes it bearable, that you're able to stay consistent with it, because the biggest thing is going to be consistency for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Fallon had a question. Do you schedule rest in your life? Additionally, how do you know when you need rest?
So I am in the unique position that to get personal, I ended up having a pretty massive panic attack at the end of 2020. There's a lot of stuff going on in my personal life that my body just literally exploded. I don't know how any other way to put it. So because that happened, it has physically made me slow down, mentally made me slow down. I have to be mindful of what I not only spend my physical energy on, but my mental energy, my emotional energy. So surrounding yourself with good people helps. Making sure that you fuel yourself with good things helps. I've made a goal for myself to read a lot more. I love to read, but I wasn't making time to read. And so, like, getting back to that, I was trying to make a goal of doing something that is going to help me, like self-development wise, and then something that was fun to consume, like read wise. So like at least one a month is what I had goaled myself. I had started doing Mel Robbins' High Five journal, just writing in that each morning. It takes like less than 5 minutes to do. So just implementing things that were helping my mental health, and knowing why I'm doing this business. I did not do this when I joined Sensi. It wasn't to earn trips. It was not to be a superstar director. It wasn't to have a group of 5,000. It was to see my husband more. It was to be more present with my kids. And a lot of times when there's going to be days where I'm full on Sensi. So like on the days that I'm doing like like my Happy Meal and stuff. That usually consumes my entire day when I'm trying to knock those things out. But for the most part, if I can just manage my time, I can work my business in pockets of time throughout the day. I can, especially, and again, this is why I'm sad that Amy's going, but I was able to still knock out some follow-ups within like 5 minutes of my day. And now I'll have to figure out my pen and paper way of making that equivalent. But yesterday I could have told there's things that I need to do with my business this week that I've goaled myself to do before the end of the week. But it was also the last day this week to take my kids to the kid movies that they're doing over the summer, and I'm like, okay, well, am I doing this business so that I can be stuck in my bedroom all day working, or am I doing this business so that I can have the freedom to take my kids to a movie? And can I carve out 2 hours of my time this morning to go ahead and do that, and then maybe work later this afternoon? So it's just keeping your goals in the forefront of what you are wanting to accomplish or what you're doing this business for. Because it's so easy to get swept up in the earnings and the titles and the goals. And especially for me as a 3, like it is hard to break away from that. But also when I run myself into the ground, I'll make myself sick. And then I'm no good to anybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think it's just so important, because what your rest looks like isn't necessarily what my rest looks like. And I think
Right.
understanding and knowing how to read your own body is critical to understanding when you're going to need rest, so you don't push past that point and get to the burnout, so that you're going to need to recover, because recovery takes exponentially longer than resting along the way, right? Resting along the way helps you recharge, refill your cup, and get ready to go. Whereas recovery lays you out and it makes you not want to do a dang thing, right?
I heard a quote a little bit ago that said, "Rest now or recover later."
Mhm.
Yeah,
You get to choose, but like choose wisely and figure out what fills your cup and carve that time out.
Yep. And I have the privilege of I did retire my husband, so he is home with me full time, and I am able to kind of split responsibilities with him. Like we homeschool our kids, but I'm not homeschooling both of them. I'm homeschooling one while he does the other. You know what I mean? And so, and I realize that is a privilege that a lot of people don't have. So it's just figuring out what that looks like for you, and how you're able to manage that. So for me, it was when they were, and also knowing that everything's going to be a season. If you have really little kids that demand a lot of your attention, that's not going to be forever. So revel in the littleness and what you can get done, and when you can do it. But know that they're going to get a little bit more older and a little bit more independent as time goes on, and you are going to get larger breaks for yourself to work your business or to rest or to do things. But a lot of times I would live when my kids would go to bed, 8 o'clock, they were in bed in their rooms. There was a baby gate up, and I was able to do whatever it is that I needed to do for my business, or I was able to read, or I was able to binge watch a show that I haven't been able to watch, or, so find your pockets of time and know that it will change and evolve over the course of your mommyhood.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because Donnie has zero desire for me to retire him. He's like, I talk about my friends who have this, and he's like, that's great for them.
Well, my husband started working in the restaurant industry when he was in high school. His sister worked as a waitress at Red Lobster, and his mom was a single mom, and so he started working in the kitchen just to help bring his mom extra money for bills and everything else. And he's just one of those, he likes to work. And so he stayed in the restaurant industry. He went back for his culinary arts and management degree when I was, when we were first married, and in hopes that he was going to be moved up into more management positions like a GM, things like that. That never happened. So he went back when I was pregnant with my son, our first child, and he started doing a degree for computer tech coding, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I'm not a computer person. So he got that. But a lot of the entry level jobs were either intern based or very low starting pay compared to what he was making in his restaurant business. And even though it was something that he did not like, he has never liked working in the restaurant industry. He doesn't like to cook. He's just something that he has started working on and just kept working on. So he just kept doing it. And then when my business started taking off, he started backing off hours a little bit more and more, which was a great thing for me because he would be missing out on holidays and birthdays, weekends. Up until he left, I had never had a Mother's Day with him. I'd only ever had one Valentine's Day with him. So there was a lot of things that he missed out on in the restaurant industry. And when I did retire him, he went insane. He's like, I don't know what to do. I need to contribute. And so he started building furniture. And so he does that on the side, and he will sell them on Marketplace occasionally. And that's what brings him joy. So he it's not as though he just sits around and does nothing, because that literally drives him nuts. He's found something that brought him joy, and that to me is the most rewarding part of my business, is that I was able to get him out of what he felt obligated to do his whole life for his mom and then for us as a family. And he is able, for the first time in his life, do something he wants to do.
That's so awesome. I love that. Do y'all have any other questions for Dani? Or thoughts based on what she was speaking about, things that you want to implement or things that were just like freaking light bulbs to you? I think one of my favorite ones, there's two. The report card is whether or not you were in the incentive, or like how you did, where you got, like, it's a report card, right? I like that. I've never thought of it that way. And then knowing that your game plan is a birth plan.
Your paycheck's a report card too. If your paycheck's really low, it's pretty eye-opening as to where especially now that they have the commissions tab where it's all broken down, and you can see, okay, I made way less in my PRV than I did before, or I made way less with my active frontline or my paid at title leaders or whatever. And so every month we have a report card of what you could be working on the following month.
Yep, love that.
I wanted to add on to the thank yous too, because I used to do like the happy mailers in the bubble mail and put a bunch of stuff in there. And I just realized it was getting really expensive. Like it was equaling out to the cost of my paycheck, so it wasn't worth it. So I just changed it to a standard cent circle inside of the envelopes. And then I use the scratch offs that I don't know if Courtney created them or shared them, but I use those. And then I have pre-made little, like, can I turn this camera around? Yes. I've just pre-made little stickers on Avery. I think it might be blurry, but anyways, it just says like, here's a little gift to show appreciation for ordering from me. Thank you for supporting my small business. And I just print these in bulk and I stick them on the back of the envelopes. And then, and it's just a stamp. I use my host credit or my half price to get the cent circles in bulk. And then I just keep them here and I send them out. And I try to personalize it to the customers because I don't want to send them something that they're not going to like. So I try to keep track of like what type of cents they order, or go back and look, or I kind of just know, send that out. And then I have a few customers that have recently started ordering for me since I moved to Arizona that I've never met before. So I try to get theirs out immediately, even if I'm falling behind on my regulars. Mm-hmm. And then I never check my email I made for Scentsy because nobody's ever emailed me there. And the other day I went to do follow-ups, and some people are new. So I was like, well, I'll just send them an email. I had an email from April from a new customer that I had not seen. And she was expressing her appreciation for getting a thank you, because she said she's ordered from like Pamper Chef, other Scentsy people, and she finds it rude that she places orders and nobody ever reaches out to thank her. And she was appreciative that not only has she gotten thank yous from me, but she gets the scent of the month and like the newsletter every month. So I realized, and it kicked me into gear yesterday to catch up on my happy mail because I was way behind. But it gives you that like, oh, people are paying attention and they want to keep ordering from you because you're acknowledging them.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. Anytime I meet up with someone else too, I'm like, okay, I wait for the experience.
And don't be scared to send them new fragrances and those scent circles, because I've had people message me going, oh my gosh, I think this is going to be my new favorite scent, and I would have never tried this had you not sent me a scent circle in this.
Yeah.
Oh, I do agree with that. But like, I have one girl who's like, I absolutely can't do cinnamon. Like, it gives me a hard time breathing. So things like that where I know it's like an absolute hate. But if it's like oh, they seem to order fruity stuff, so I'm going to send them this fruity one. Then yeah, then I'll do that. But I wouldn't want to send somebody that's allergic to cinnamon an apple and cinnamon, scent circle.
That's smart.
So sometimes I randomize it. Sometimes I try to personalize it depending on the customer.
It's really good customer service. Courtney, I saw you unmute.
Yes, so I said it in the comments, but I don't know if everybody saw, but she said something about the incentive is like a reward for working your business, but the real prize is, a growing successful business that can be substantial on its own. Substantial. Thank you. And I think that works really great into our fail plan that we were talking about last week, because obviously the main goal is to earn the incentive, but an incredible fail plan is a successful business in place.
Yeah.
So I thought that was like perfect one-in-one, hand-in-hand kind of thing.
Yeah, and for those who may be watching the replay of this, who haven't watched last week's or our collective huddles, we talked about building your plan for the season, because when you have that anchor plan, when you have the things in place, you're not going to get distracted by all the other cool things that people are doing, but you know what your goals are. And within each goal, whether it's your personal goal, for your PRV, for your customers, for your team, for your personal life, you have these goals, but then you have a fail plan where it's your standard, your average, that it's okay when you hit that. If it's a hard month, if something else is going on, if you don't hit the goal for the month, that you have a fail plan and that it's okay, and you're not going to judge yourself. You're going to give yourself grace, and you're going to be able to move forward. So if you haven't watched that and created your plan yet, I would encourage you to do so and send it to me or your director for accountability, so that we can help keep you accountable. Redundancy. It's what I love.
It's just drilling it home.
Yeah. For the accountability, I'm going to keep you accountable when you send me this to account for your plan. All right, guys, what else do you have? Is there anything else that maybe pertains to this, but may not be quite specific to this that you want to talk about? Side note, this or that graphics posted in the graphics group. Courtney, you're a rock star. Thanks, friend. Does anybody have
any specific? Oh, sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
I was gonna say I don't have any specific questions. I was just trying to I love hearing you talk about how you run your business and your energy, because I think that's something that a lot of us ran out in 2020. We were running, and energy just kind of tanked. So if there's anything in your brain that you can be like, this is something that I do to preserve part of me, or, what other little tidbits that you do or that you can take time or add in, I think that would be really valuable.
I think it's more so finding what works for you, not being afraid to try new things. I know things have felt really slow lately within our businesses. And of course it does, because we've pretty much been going straight up the last 2 years. And so we all knew that wasn't maintainable, and at some point we'd be coming down. I think for some people it may have felt a little bit more of a nosedive than they had thought it was going to. The mindset I try to keep with my team is that during slower times, even if it's not coming off hypergrowth, even if it's just normal summer slowness, to use it twofold. One, to take the needed rest, because we are gearing up for a season that's going to demand a lot more of us. So I think in a way, our business is a lot like being a teacher. We're on for a solid several months of the year, and then we get that little reprieve in the summer, and then we don't know and I think that's the problem, is because we're so on. When this slow time does come, you're like, you panic. You're like, oh god, and what am I supposed to do? Everything's crashing down, and it's not. It's fine. People are just enjoying their summers and things, and that's a normal part of our business. So I try to, one, utilize the rest time while I can, and two, to use it to implement or try things in my business that I wouldn't normally have time for. So a big portion of my business is cottage crates that I do, which is basically my personal version of a whiff box, right? So if you're not in the consultant creations group, it's a really great group to utilize. But it was during the summertime. I had seen people doing these scent crates, and I was hesitant on diving in because I was just like, I don't know, that seems like a lot of commitment. I don't know if I would have interest in that. And then summertime hit, and I'm like, I got to do something because I'm not booking as many parties as I usually do, so I have to fill this void. And I was like, you know what, this would be a really good time to try this. And so I tried it, and it is something I've been doing 4 years later. Every single month I do them. But had I not had that slow time, I would not have had the time to implement that into my business. During slow times is when I've done realtor bundles for the first time. I've reached out for fundraisers. So take advantage of the slow times to try things that you see other people trying that you're like, oh, I don't know if that'll work. And if it doesn't work, fine, then stop doing it. But at least you gave it a go, and you had the time to devote to give it a good chance. You know what I mean? You just weren't like half button it. So these slow times can be very beneficial because had I not had that slow time to implement a cottage crate, I wouldn't be doing them 4 years later. You know what I mean? And that's been a huge source of income or like PRV for me throughout my business since I've implemented those. So getting a good mindset as to the different seasons in your business is great. Throwing away things that just aren't serving you. So if there's something that you have just like really been trying to force to happen and it's just not happening, maybe reevaluate that and see what time and energy and money could be spent elsewhere to try something else different. For Scentsy, we're told, $200 once every 12 months. It doesn't say $200 on online parties or $200 on events or fundraisers. So if you are forcing something and it's just not taking, try something different. You're not chained to having to do one thing. And what I love so much about this business is if you look at any leaders that you admire, right? For example, Christina Steinbrook's coming to mind. If you look at the things that Christina Steinbrook does with her Scentsy business, you can look at anything that she does at Scentsy and go, man, that's so Christina. You know what I mean? Or look at anything that Ariel does with her business and go, man, that's so Ariel. You know what I mean? And what I love is we're all taking the same Scentsy and we're making it us. And so we're able to do that with our businesses, which is amazing. That it can become us. So just figuring out what that means for you so that it brings you joy and it doesn't feel like so much work. Mm-hmm. And I guess also knowing when to ask for help. Especially when it comes to like my husband, he'll see me overwhelmed, and I'm also one of those like, no, I got it. I hate group projects. I hate I'd rather do it on my own. I'm so overwhelmed, but I'm gonna do it on my own. I'm hell bent on doing that. But there are sometimes, and I think Allison Belke is someone that said this, that done is better than perfect. So if there is something that I can let go of enough that my husband can do, like for a while there, I was so busy, I was having him do my team mail. Does he do it in the fun, colorful fonts on my computer that I want him to do it in? No, but did my team get happy mail? Yes. You know what I mean? So if there are things that you can let go of, Reese, my daughter is 6, she loves to help me, and that is wonderful. But it also can drive me nuts. So she'll say, Mommy, can I help you? Is there something you can teach me to label? And so, are some of my labels upside down? Mm-hmm. Yep. Are my products labeled with my information? Mm-hmm. Yep. So letting go of some things and just saying that done is better than perfect. And sometimes you're just going to have seasons of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
you're just a wealth of information. I love hearing you talk.
Tell me that on a bad day. When I'm messaging Ariel going, this is the worst ever, I'm so horrible.
And I think too, having somebody to say, this day friggin' sucks too.
Yeah.
It's so vital.
Having someone in your corner, like Ariel, I'll message her and I'll just be like, Chelsea Otto is one of my people, you know what I mean? So like having people that you can go to, and they're like, yeah, it sucks. What are you going to do about it? That is invaluable. Where they let you scream it out and whine and throw a fit and whatever, and then when you're done, they validate you and then say, okay, but what are we going to do about this? Those people are invaluable. What you don't want are people going, yeah, this sucks, when are we quitting Scentsy? Or, you know, this is just horrible because they do this to us all the time, and enough's enough, and we're done, right? So don't have people in your corner that are going to allow you to sit in that place. Have them validate you and then say, okay, what are we going to do about that?
You know, and all of us on this live call, we're all leaders here. And I think it's important to understand, like when a downline is coming to you, say, hey, are you venting right now or do you want solutions? And then as somebody coming to your upline, maybe letting them know, hey, I just need to vent, or hey, I'm looking for solutions. So you can preface so that we're not like, okay, in solution driven mode, we're ready to help you solve this, when you're just like, I just want to bitch for a minute, you know, I just want to like get it off my chest. So we like making sure that we know what you're coming to us for, or letting us know what you're coming to us for. Did I say that same thing twice? I might have, but I think prefacing it so that we're all on the same page. But then as leaders, we are also here to help you find those solutions. So when you're ready for them, when you're ready to not be in the place of, ugh, we're going to help guide you out of that. I think that's super important to know too. We are here for that, right? We're not going to let you sit in the shit.
And not stonewall you with this toxic positivity. It's all good. Everything's good. Rainbows everywhere. No, there's sometimes this business sucks, and seasons suck, and situations suck, and you know, but what are we going to do about it? And honestly, women who want big things can't let small things get to them.
Ooh, snaps. Fallon, write that down. Text us later. That's so true. Because if you let the little things get you, I don't want to should on you, right? But your mental game needs to be stronger. Your goal needs to be stronger.
Things like Tenselgate suck. Things like flash sales, overselling product, or taking a month to ship, that sucks. But also, are you going to think about those things when you're making your gold paychecks in the fall? No. Was it worth it? When you do get to those gold paychecks, absolutely. Would you do it again? Absolutely. So it's going to suck and you're going to complain about it in the moment, but you got to realize that it's just a moment and you got to keep going.
Yeah. And if you're having a bad day, step away for the day. That's okay.
Yeah.
Step away, because we all have those days where the little things just keep happening. And maybe that's your sign to close your computer, go read a book, take a bath, get in your pool, be away from the technology, and then come back the next day refreshed. Because crappy days happen to everybody. And letting it, what was that?
I was gonna say Sunday I got into the bathtub at 2 and I was in there until 8.
Good for you. Know your worth, you know what's gonna make you feel better. That's a solution, right? Stepping away for the day. But what does Amy Purdy say? That her coach told her, you cannot quit on a bad day. You can quit. If it's your best day and you want to quit, okay, goodbye. We're going to miss you. You've done awesome. But when you're having a crappy day, you may not quit on that day. We will not let you. Go take a break, read a book, get in the bath.
And even my worst day at Scentsy is better than my best day anywhere else.
Isn't that wild?
There is not a better day at a 9-to-5 job that I have ever had in my life that would outdo a bad day at Scentsy.
Yep. And that's true for so many of us. And some of us love our 9-to-5 and love Scentsy. I don't have a 9-to-5. I shouldn't say our. If you have a 9-to-5 and you love it, awesome. How can Scentsy also be something that you love? Right? What freedom can Scentsy provide? Maybe to give you the option of choosing what 9-to-5 you get to work at. You know?
I just have so many notes. This is just beautiful. Like, we're gonna just have this nice little
charcuterie board
quote from Dani. Yep. And I've got ideas too. I actually wrote down. Oh, okay, you can't see it because it's the paper.
Yep.
Never mind. It's there. But I love this. This is like great. And I don't know that line specifically, women who want big things can't get caught up with the small things. That's literally gonna live in my head. And my children are yelling at each other. So that's where we are.
That wasn't me, by the way. This is just stuff that I've read.
We'll find it. It's fine. We'll just be like Dani quoting somebody else.
Dani is not internally wise.
You are though.
It's just a sponge of the wise.
You are able to regurgitate things so well, and we appreciate you for that.
Yeah, seriously. And something I do want to point out is there was this line too that you said, make sure what you're doing brings you joy so it doesn't feel like work. And I think often we get caught up in like, well, I need to do this, the comparison problem, the, imposter syndrome. And so then we don't end up just focusing on what brings us joy in this business. And then we kill it for ourselves. And it's all here. If we actually focused on the joy aspect of it, we wouldn't get to the bad days that we have typically.
And a lot of that joy can be stolen by comparison.
Yes.
So for me, and this is probably when I felt the most relaxed in my business, is when I stopped. There's no time clock. So no one says you have to be director by then, SD by this time, SSD by this time. Yes, we see people come in and they promote really fast, or they do these incredible things really quickly. I mean, I promoted to director in less than 2 months, and I was top Africa my first year, right? And then Emily Parkinson was SSD within her first 6 months. I don't know. There's always going to be a faster person. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter how fast you do something. If you know that Scentsy is where you want to be, it's like a road trip. If you know your destination is Disney World, right? If your destination is SSD one day, that's something that you'd like to do, right? And you're on the journey there. Is it more fun to just get on the highway and beeline it there, or do you have more fun road tripping to that and stopping at these little spots and enjoying the journey, right? So if you know that the destination is solidified, that you're going to get there at some point, it doesn't matter how long it takes you, and you're able to really kind of enjoy the journey a little bit more, not worrying about what other people are doing, because there's always going to be someone faster and better and more creative and this, that, and the other. You can't do the catch-up game, but also know that Scentsy in particular has such an amazing culture where if there's someone doing something that you want to do, ask them how, because I have yet to meet anyone stonewall me and say, oh, well, I won't tell you what I'm doing, or I'm going to keep all this close to chest and you do it all in secret. Just about every single person I've ever met in Scentsy, especially if they're a leader, will tell you exactly how they're doing what they're doing. And you're able to take that and make that you and go with that. So just because she's done it doesn't mean that you can't. It's proof that you can. So allow yourself to not be in a rush and not be distracted by people doing things that you want to do. Just know that it's out there and able to be done. And once you're able to kind of let that part go, you start enjoying it a lot more. And once you get to SSD, you don't get to promote anymore. There's no big you know what I mean?
I have a question. When you said catch-up game, it kind of sparked a bit of a question. Going back to what you were talking about the follow-up game being just biblical in our business.
Mm-hmm.
And then you were talking about the colander and if some things have strained through. So let's just, not for me, for the sake of a question, let's say some liquid has gone through the colander. How do we delicately bring those people back into the fold if we have missed out on some opportunity to really strongly follow up in the moment? And maybe not a lot of time has passed, but maybe for some of us more time has passed. Is there a delicate way to make sure we're bringing them back into the fold and obviously start now, do better? But what can we do to make sure, like you were saying, that hard work, how can we bring them back in? Because that was definitely in a season of hard work. We don't want to lose them.
So for me, what that would look like is, because I do all my follow-ups via text message. So I would text them and say, hey friend, it's your Scentsy mommy. It's been a while since we've touched base. I just wanted to see how you're doing in these crazy times. Is there anything that you need? We have a new catalog coming up. Would you like me to send you one? So just acknowledging it's been a little while, and how are you doing? And is there anything? And they may come back and they say, well, I've not heard from you in a little bit and I found someone else to buy from. And that's okay. But at least you extended the olive branch and acknowledged it's been a while. And I've had some people where they slipped through my Amy somehow. I don't know if Amy wasn't bringing it up for me to message in a while. But I had reached out to someone with pretty much that exact message, and they were like, oh my gosh, I've been trying to remember your phone number. I need to place an order and it's been so long. And they were so happy that I reached out, because they hadn't saved me in their phone and they couldn't find any of my labels or whatever. So I mean, worst case is they say, well, I've already found somebody else. And if that's the case, then, you know, wish them well and let them know that you're there if anything were to happen to that person. And then also know that if they do take you up on sending a catalog or placing an order or whatever, that it is now your responsibility to make sure you hold up that other end, that you need to follow up now, or you need to send that catalog, or you need to send thank yous, and continue to nourish that relationship and build trust back up.
Thanks.
I have been there as well. The discomfort of what are they going to think and how is this going to end is far worse than just actually doing it. And even if they don't respond, like the worst that's going to happen is they ghost you. Second worst is they found somebody else because you dropped the ball, and then that's that self-guilt, right? But like Dani said, letting them know that you're there, should anything happen, awesome, and move on. And you know you've done what you can. Because I think we've all been through the seasons where it's like, I really dropped the ball there, and I have to acknowledge that. I have to own up to it because it was my mistake. And then being able to move forward and give yourself grace without judgment and letting it go is really key to help you move forward.
And just to kind of hit home as to how important follow-up is, the very first time I experienced Scentsy, someone had sent me a package direct from Scentsy to me as a housewarming gift. So someone that I knew had ordered on someone's website and had mailed me a package from Scentsy, right? And that was the first time I got a warmer, I got some bars, whatever. And it was the first time I'd ever experienced Scentsy. And at the time, I thought wax was wax, right? And so when I ran out of the Scentsy wax, I got the stuff from Walmart. And of course, it's not the same. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, what is wrong with my warmer? I thought my warmer was broken because it's putting out some like hellacious smells, right? It's obviously it's the warmer and not the 99-cent wax I was putting in there. So and again, I'm a hoarder, so I wrapped the cord around the warmer and I put it underneath my kitchen sink, and it stayed there for like 5 years until I was reintroduced to Scentsy. And I ended up joining, and here I am. I've got a team of 1,200. I'm an SSD, I'm a top earner, and no one ever followed up with me from that initial order. And had they, potentially I could have joined their team back then, you know, potentially I would have been their SSD, who knows? But know that I've personally dropped the ball on reaching out to somebody. And when I did, they said, well, I actually ended up joining under somebody else. So know that every time you let someone slip through your colander or your bucket, that is a potential hostess or a customer or a teammate of somebody else. Because if you're not going to reach out to somebody, somebody else is.
Mm-hmm. That's a really great reminder. Valerie,
I was gonna say, it just reminds me because Ariel is the champ at follow-up because I didn't answer her like 7 times. No joke, we counted. It was like 7 times. And then she's like, so about that kid. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I actually forgot to message you.
But that's not your job. As a customer, you have no obligation to reach back out. But Ariel had the obligation with her business that was her job. You know what I mean? Whether or not you complete the other end of it, she completed her job.
And thank goodness she did. Look at that. I also like to think of that again. We're giving gifts when we follow up. Like the fact that you could hand somebody something that they could run with and retire their husband is insane. It's insane.
Yeah, it's pretty rad. All right, do y'all have any other questions? We are like coming up on our hour. That was freaking awesome. Dani, first of all, I just want to say thank you. I just adore you, and you are wonderful and such a gem and a light, and you give such a unique perspective that I think so many people just need to hear. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And if anybody who's watching the replay has questions for Dani, drop them wherever you're watching this, and we'll make sure that the questions get to her and she can adequately answer.
Yep.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you, and it's top of the hour, so we're gonna call it. But you guys have an awesome day, and don't forget, it's your move.